Alrighty, guys, and welcome back to the Basketball Fix podcast. Now, on today's episode, we're continuing on with our Game Day Squad preseason content. It is just preseason content for only a matter of hours now. We are only a handful of hours away now from round number 1 opening and obviously seeing some NBL action where we can look at some of our game day players. We've been speaking about obviously players who have been exciting us in the off season and in the NBL preseason at the NBL Blitz. Now it is really time to start to put these teams together, put your squad together, and looking for an incredible round number 1. Now, as you can see here by myself today, it has been an absolutely jam-packed week. I've just started with Fox Sports, so sorry for it just being a single episode. It will be back to regular scheduling programming next week with Mr. Jeremy Dark as well, where we look to recap and review the incredible round 1 of NBL basketball. But today's episode, we're going to be going through a little bit of key information heading into round number 1. I'm going to be showing you my teams that I've selected for the first 2 leagues, which is what I'm going to be targeting this season and looking to build some cards and collections and stuff as we go along throughout the season. And then we're going to be running through a little bit of key information as well. So we'll probably start there. I put a tweet out a couple of days ago. If you haven't seen it on Twitter, at Basketball Fix, Josh Higgins is what the account is under. And just a couple of little service announcements. So the first one obviously is the first game. So tonight, 7:30 p.m., Melbourne United will be taking on the Tasmania JackJumpers. That is Australian Eastern Daylight Time, so Melbourne time. So really, really incredible game that's going to be. And Melbourne and Tasmania will both play twice this weekend, and so will the New Zealand Breakers. So obviously when we're speaking about scoring and teams playing 2 games, it is super exciting. It's not like other fantasy games where, you get the combined score. So it's not necessarily important to have those guys on double game weeks in your squad. But what it does do is it allows you to have 2 bites at the apple and you're walking away with the best score at the end of the round. So you'll see a couple of players who I've selected when we go through my team relatively shortly, who are from Tasmania. I think there's one from Melbourne and there's a couple from the Breakers as well. Again, I'm just looking for 2 bites at the apple to really try to maximize my score heading into NBL26 and obviously round number 1 as well. Now, a couple little things to keep an eye out. So with 3 teams playing double game weeks, there's also 3 teams not playing game at all. So we've got the Adelaide 36ers, the Sydney Kings, and the Illawarra Hawks will not feature in round number 1. So the Adelaide 36ers and the Sydney Kings will be taking on the European teams, KK Partizan and Panathinaikos. And then we have the Illawarra Hawks over in Singapore representing the NBL at the Intercontinental Cup as well. So we won't be seeing guys like Bryce Cotton, Kendric Davis, JaVale McGee, those top caliber players in round number 1, but rest assured they'll be back in round number 2, and that's where we can start to bring them into our squads. Other key information, so Sam Wardenberg, for people who might have been thinking about playing him this round, he is now out for 3 months with an ankle injury. Parker Jackson Cartwright had some rib problems at the NBL Blitz. He is likely to play at this stage. Hasn't been a ruling out of him for any rounds to start the season. Rob Baker as well had a bit of a back complaint when they went over to Japan to play in those exhibition games, in those preseason games. And Sunday Detch, who's been dealing with a calf problem, all reports is also likely to play as well heading into NBL26. Now, for Melbourne United, though, the big news out of the camp is that Chris Goulding has gone down with a quad injury as well, which will see him ruled out for at least the first 2 rounds. So, again, another guy who's on a double game week. You're probably looking at guys now like Jesse Edwards, Tyson Walker, and Milton Doyle to probably take a little bit more responsibility for that team. And also a guy in Tanner Krebs, who I think he's going to have a good season this year, who's also an underrated piece of the puzzle, who will also have 2 games to capitalize on his score. So let's start to move into some things. Now, we're going to start this episode off, as I mentioned. This isn't you don't have to buy packs to play this game. This is just me. I love doing this. I love spotlighting every single part of the game, and we will do that throughout the whole entire NBL season. But I'm just going to open a few packs just because there are a few new players in the game since the last time we have recorded a video. So it would be nice to get a couple of those guys in my squad. And also as well, like I mentioned though, this is not the way that you have to play the game. You can go in there, open your base packs up, and then really start to build your collection. And then, like I said, once we go through to the squad builders as well, and me showing my teams, that's where I can really sort of give you some sort of insight as to why you don't have to have all these incredible platinum, diamond, gold players. It can really just stem from having a really solid collection of bronze and silver players and then slowly working yourself up as the season goes along. But let's have some fun. We've got a rare player pack. We've got a unique player pack and 2 of the rare all-star packs as well. So we'll kick it off. We've got the rare packs. Again, we're just looking for some of these new cards. That's all I'm really looking for right now. Not chasing the old guys that we do have in the league so far. And Johnny Narkle, shout out WA. Probably not going to play too many minutes this year as a DP. It's an interesting rare pack to say the least. I wasn't expecting anything crazy out of the rare pack, but really nice nonetheless. We got unique player pack here as well. So we're probably going to... Again, we've got Diamond, Platinum. Okay, so I was looking for low-rated cards. I think I've definitely bought the wrong pack. Sam McDaniel in for a really good year. Tristan Devers, probably not as much. And Rob Baker. Okay. All right, this is changing a few things as it goes along. So Rob Baker is going to be a genuine star in NBL26. We can rest assured that. I think he's going to be one of the more underrated players the league has seen. Now we're into these all-star packs as well. A couple little things to look out for again. I don't know what that one means. I'm not sure if that's diamond or if that's just platinum. Looks like all platinum cards. No idea. Okay, we've hit a bit of a bug right here. I'm not sure what's happened there. I have to speak to the execs over there and figure out what has gone on. Maybe I've just pulled a legend card around that and I've glitched the game out. So we'll figure out what's happening here. Gold, and gold. All right, let's open these. Malik Lewis, going to be a very solid player in NBL26. Finn Delaney, that changes my squad a little bit. Okay, that's going to change my squad maybe a little bit as we go along in this video as well. And Karim Lopez. Now, I'd love to see who we may have just pulled. I wonder if there's a way we can look at. Let's just learn a little bit here as well. If not, we'll have a little bit of a look at it as the season, throughout the sort of rest of the day. We've pulled Bryce Hamilton. Oh, no, this is... Hang on. Holy, I just got really excited then for no reason. I was like, hang on, I haven't had a Bryce Hamilton in my collection. This is new. A couple of these guys I've already had. Just trying to see. Okay, so we've got a Jalen Adams, which I think I already had that, actually. Just trying to see if there's anyone that jumps off the page. A lot of these guys I've already had, so I'm not seeing anyone new or anyone that's sort of prickling up my interest as per se as well. Johnny Narkle, as we mentioned earlier. Maybe Parker Jackson Cartwright's new one. I haven't seen him before. And David Johnson. Okay, so Parker Jackson Cartwright, David Johnson. It looks like this Sean McDonald card as well may have also been pulled. So Parker, really, really good card heading into NBL26. Again, the rib injuries, we'll see what happens with that as well. But nonetheless, we will look to have a bit of a crack. Now, what we're going to be doing this season, obviously, like I've mentioned, is there's a couple of ways that we can look at some of these squad builders as well. So we're going to kick it off with the starters. Now, if I was building a starter team, as we've mentioned before, you've got salary caps and you've obviously got, the different rarities of players. So when we go and look into the salary cap, all you can use in the first competition, which is starter, is bronze players. So each bronze player is worth $500,000. So you've got a salary cap of $5 million. You've got 10 players to get that. And that's what we've got right here. So again, like I mentioned, double game weeks, we've got the New Zealand Breakers, Melbourne United, and also New Zealand Breakers, Melbourne United, and also the Tasmania JackJumpers. So for me right now, as you can see on the screen, I haven't really gone with too many of those double game weeks in the starters. I've locked in Will Magnay because I think he's going to be a genuine stud in round number 1. So they play Melbourne United in the first game and then the Perth Wildcats in the second game. So matching up against two pretty good big men. Jesse Edwards is a bit of a star, and Joe Lawala-Chul we know is a pretty proven star as well in the NPL. So I've also gone with Christian Doolittle, as you can see as well, Casey Prather, Parker Jackson Cartwright, and Nathan Sobey. So where I sort of see Christian Doolittle and Casey Prather, they're you guys who you're trying to look for double-doubles out of them. So you're looking for 15 points, 10 rebounds, couple of steals, couple of blocks. That's what they're going to be able to do and produce throughout the whole entire NPL season. Parker Jackson Cartwright is just an all-around beast. We've seen him have 15 points and 10 assists in certain games with a couple of rebounds, plenty of steals as well. So he's going to be a guy who doesn't really get a lot of turnovers. Now, probably don't quote me right now. Everything that I've probably just said right then is probably not going to happen this week. We're probably going to see so many turnovers from Parker Jackson Cartwright, but that's what his game has sort of been. The high assists, the low turnovers, and the plenty of steals and points as well. So he's going to be a valuable piece to the puzzle this round. Again, with the double game week if he does play as well. And then Nathan Sobey, I've just loved what he's done in the preseason, and they're a little bit underdone heading into this first round. They've just released Vlen James Blyenberg, who was probably looking to take a little bit of the ball handling duties. Now, Owen Foxwell will most likely step into that starting point guard role, and Nathan Sobey playing off him as well, which we saw him in the preseason have 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. So he's going to be one to watch out for in NBL26, and in particular this first round as well. They play the underdone Cairns Taipans, so it's going to be, I think, a bit of a points fest for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. Looking at the bench though, Dylan Windler, Admiral Schofield. Those two guys have slightly similar game plans, but I think the way that they're going to score is going to be slightly different. So I think Admiral's going to be more of your scoring guy. So you're looking for just a bulk scorer, maybe 20 to 25 points per game. Dylan's probably going to be your guy, averages about 18 points per game, but has about 6 assists, 6 rebounds, a couple of assists, a couple of steals, and a couple of blocks. He's going to be a very valuable piece of the puzzle. I don't think he's really going to leave my squad too much this year because he can genuinely stuff the stat sheet as well. We've seen him with big monster double-doubles, with rebounds, and like I've mentioned as well, we've also seen him with a 6 steal game last year and also a 6 block game last year as well. So different games, but he can definitely stuff the stat sheet. The next two guys, we've got Owen Foxwell. Again, I'm just looking to feast on those Cairns Taipans' potential points as well, heading into round number 1. And Jordan Hunter, who is probably going to be matching up against Marcus Lee, and then not really much coming off the bench for the Cairns Taipans as well. So if he can get some sort of a double-double, a couple of blocks, he's going to score relatively nice for me. And the last one is a little bit of a concern, David Johnson. Now, for people out there, he has been sort of looked at as somebody who has been coming into this round as sick. So he might be someone that we look to remove heading into round 1, and potentially just swap him and his card. So we've got a couple of options here. We could probably go down the Angus Glover pathway. Realistically, out of everyone that I've got right now, he's looking the best. Obviously, we know Chris Goulding's out. Tyler Harvey is away at the Intercontinental Cup. We have Isaiah Leartha, who could be a guy that we look to bring in as well. Tommy Wilson's not a bad card. Just trying to look off the top of our head right now. I think maybe we'll go and lock in a Ben Henschel. I think he's a guy who's probably going to come off the bench as well for the Perth Wildcats. And he can score, rebound, facilitate. He can do everything for the Perth Wildcats as well. So we'll lock in Ben Henschel. So that's my starter team for round number 1. Now, I think where this is going to be the most competitive and I think most played game mode this season is the Contenders. So this one, you have $5.5 million of a salary cap. So again, very similar with the last one. Your bronze players, $500,000. Silver players, $600,000. And your gold players, $700,000 as well. So again, this is where you're looking to use your gold players. And this is the strategy I'm going with. Again, I'm a first-time player of this. I'm still trying to figure out what's the best strategy with it all. But for me, I've gone with a couple of gold players and 1 silver player. So as you can see on my lineup, again, I've got the Casey Prather, Christian Doolittle combination. Those two guys I don't really think will come out of my squad too much in NBL26. Again, like I mentioned before, double-double machines from last season and can really score, facilitate, and rebound, and also a solid on the defensive end as well. I've also kept Will Magnay, but I've upgraded that bronze card, which you saw in the last game, all the way up to a gold card. Again, he's a guy who can defend at a high level. He averaged 1.6 blocks per game last season with 1.2 steals and also 7.1 rebounds. So he's a guy who, if he's at the peak of his powers, is going to be a very strong piece of the puzzle for the Tasmania JackJumpers in NBL26. And he just does everything so well for the Jackies. So I'm expecting a double-double out of one of these games, hopefully. And then also a couple of steals and a couple of blocks. So again, we're looking at a very, very relatively good score for a guy. And that's where I want to capitalize because as we know, our bronze players do not have a multiplier. They're just a single value. And then the more we go up, we've obviously got our multipliers increasing. So the gold players right now, a 1.2 multiplier. So instead of, like Will Magnay, it was to score 30 points as a bronze, we'll be looking at 30. Again, this is just maths off the top of my head, so I could be completely wrong, but he will see 36 points as a gold player just because of those multipliers. This is where it does get quite important to kind of, I guess, ask questions and also listen to some of our advice as well. Now, the other guy that I've gone for in a similar vein, obviously, to a guy like Will Magnay, double game week as well, is Tiger Campbell. Now, I know we've been very, very big on Tiger Campbell to start NBL26. There's a couple of reasons why. At the NBL Blitz, he averaged 12 points, 8 assists, and 1.5 turnovers. Assist to turnover ratio is incredible. We know how important, obviously, assists are, steals, rebounds, blocks, points, all that sort of stuff is. But we also know how detrimental turnovers and personal fouls can be to a player's score. So Tiger stays out of foul trouble from what we've seen so far. His turnover numbers are very, very low, and his assist numbers are very high. I think nearly he is the biggest lock heading into round number 1. He's got a double game week. Like I mentioned earlier, they play Melbourne United in round number 1 with a fresh Tyson Walker and also Shea Illy, which is going to be somewhat of a defensive nightmare. But I think Shea Illy is going to go to a Bryce Hamilton in this particular game anyway. So Tiger Campbell will be allowed to run the point guard to a degree and at a very high level as well. And then they come up against the Perth Wildcats. Now, if Sunday Detch doesn't play, that is going to be a bit of a feast and a bit of fiesta, I think, for Tiger Campbell, because we know the Perth Wildcats have struggled on the defensive end. Again, new season, new team could be. But again, I just think Tiger Campbell is such a savvy and crafty playmaker, and he's going to do very, very well for the Tasmania JackJumpers. And I've thrown in Bryce Hamilton in this particular league as well. Pure scorer, couple of rebounds, couple of assists. That's about all you're going to get from Bryce Hamilton. But he's a guy who could have 20 to 25 points in one of these 2 games again. So I'm banking on him doing that. Again, Dylan Windler is the backup small forward. Not much has changed with the Christian Doolittle, Casey Prather, Dylan Windler trio there. And then also Owen Foxwell is the same player from last team as well, who will be bringing into round number 1 for the same reasons I spoke about just before. And we've got Jack McVeigh, Sam Menenga, and Javon Freeman Liberty. So Freeman Liberty is a guy who I'm bringing in as a silver card. Again, they've got a good matchup, in my opinion, against the Brisbane Bullets. He's a guy who, against the New Zealand Breakers. He's a guy who we saw score an incredible amount of points at the Blitz. I think it was like a 27.7 rebound, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 4 steals and 2 block performance. So, when we're looking at the upper echelon of performers, that was a 71-point game day squad performance. So I don't know. We're probably not going to see something like that in round number 1. But if we do, I want to have a silver card, which could replicate some of those massive scores that he will produce as well. So again, it's going to be very, very interesting. And what I'm going to do now, just in the background right now, I'm going to clear my squad because we want to obviously have this podcast for the new players of Game Day Squad, but we also want to have this podcast for the experienced players of Game Day Squad as well. And this is obviously where, there's a couple of different ways that we can look at it all and sort of go about our way as well. But at the end of the day, we want to also be catering to not only the new players of Game Day Squad, but the existing players as well. So we're going to jump into the Champions League here. And this is where, if you don't know, you can really look to just play whatever your best cards are. So there's an unlimited salary cap. So the more you guys play, you'll get reward packs after each round. You get Game Day Squad credits. You can open packs from that as well. So not having to spend any money on the game. And then you slowly increase your team as the year goes on. And before you know it, you can be contending in leagues like this as well. But again, there is a lot of players who have been playing this game for a number of years now as well. And I think it's also time that we cater to them as well. So again, we'll look to the point guard position right now. So a couple of the guys that are very interesting to me is the Parker Jackson Cartwright that we just pulled early on. So now we are looking at one of the more impressive players in NBL26. And when you look at the multiplier of a 1.3, really, really exciting to have him in our squad. And I'm sure if you've got a higher verity of him as well, you'll be looking to bring him into your team straight away. Small forward, not much is going to change on my front. It's just going to be a swap in positions, from the starter to the bench, or from the bench to the starter as well. So Dylan Windler will come in as my starting small forward heading into round number 1. And then we're looking at a mixture of players here as well. So obviously it's a shame that a Montrezl Harrell isn't playing in round number 1. But for me, Rob Baker's definitely tickling my fancy if that back injury does hold up. So we're going to bring in Rob Baker as well. Again, the double game week, the double chance at seeing what he can produce for us. The center position, again, be nice to use this bloke because he could definitely score some game day points back in the day. You got Sam Menenga on the double game week. Again, Geordie Hunter's going to be solid. Tyrell Harrison is double machine. But I'm going to start with Sam Menenga as my starting center, purely based on the fact that he has the double game week and a second chance, obviously, to produce some big scores. And then at the shooting guard, I'm not really spoilt for depth here at the moment. So we're going to start Milton Doyle. And then again, we're going to have to start as our backup, David Johnson, because obviously Bullqual, not looking forward to him this season. I think he's got a lot to prove in the NBL. Bryce Cotton is obviously something that someone I'd love to use, but he's obviously away at the moment with those European games as well. So David Johnson is going to be the guy. And like I mentioned, if you've got guys like Tiger Campbell, you've got guys like Will Magnay, you've got the top upper echelon players heading into NBL26, make sure you use these guys as well, because I am somewhat jealous that you guys will have them over me at the moment as well. My backup center, I'm going to lock in Tyrell Harrison. I just think what he does is just double doubles galore. Obviously, a nice amount of blocks and steals as well. So he's going to be invaluable. And again, this is where I'm going to use the Owen Foxwell as well over a Jalen Adams. People might think I'm absolutely berserk there, but I will take the multiplier. Obviously, this is a diamond card, a 1.4 multiplier. So a 1 higher multiplier than obviously a Jalen Adams platinum card. And again, I really like that Cairns Taipans matchup for Owen Foxwell and the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. And then we have the power forward and the small forward to go. I'm going to lock in Josh Bannon, who has a double game week this week as well. So we've got a diamond verity of him. And then I'm tossing up between right now Alex Higgins-Titcher, who is going to have an increased role with the Sam Wardenberg injury, or Casey Prather. But again, I'm going to opt for the lower multiplier, but most likely the better player. So that is how I'm going to be looking heading into Champions as well. So we've got, for recap, Parker Jackson Cartwright, Milton Doyle, Dylan Windler, Rob Baker, Sam Menenga. 3 of them are diamonds, 2 of them are platinums as well. And then on the bench, we have 2 diamonds in Josh Bannon and Owen Foxwell, and 3 platinums in Tyrell Harrison, David Johnson, and Casey Prather. So that is going to wrap up sort of what we are doing with our team heading into NBL 26's round number 1. Obviously, there's going to be plenty more content as the season goes along, and incredible, obviously, the NBL Supercoach has basically shit the bed heading into NBL 26 as well. So going to be a lot of new players on Gameday Squad. And if you haven't already, make sure if you are signing up, use the code TBF for 3 free player packs once you have created your account as well. And also, there is a giveaway that we are running at our Instagram at the Basketball Fix, where we're giving away 2 NBL tickets for the season. All you've got to do is be following the Basketball Fix and Gameday Squad on Instagram. Also, go over to the website, create your team, use the code TBF as well, and then also comment, like the post, and tag a friend in the comments. So easy giveaway. And the boys also are giving away a free jersey as well, which is super exciting heading into NBL 26. So plenty of stuff is happening with Gameday Squad, the premier NBL fantasy game heading into NBL 26 as well. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, though. We hope you've got plenty of information. Again, this is more of a series where we sort of look at what we're doing, sort of give a few little tips and pointers throughout the season and go from there. But until next time, we hope you've gotten your basketball fix.